Hello everyone, and welcome to Film Industry Focus. If you view cinema not just as entertainment, but as a vital, evolving art form, then you are in the right place.
This is a true story that happened right here in my town. A lot of people die in a lot of really weird ways in this story, but you're not going to find it in the news.
If you have followed my work for any length of time, you know my stance on the horror genre. It is rarely my cup of tea. Too often, I find modern horror relies on cheap jump scares, derivative tropes, and a cynical reliance on gore over substance. I went into Weapons with extremely low expectations, frankly expecting another forgettable slasher.
I just want to say how very sorry I am for...
She should be locked up until she tells us what happened!
I have rarely been so happy to be proven wrong. Weapons, directed by Cregger, is not just one of the best horror films of the decade. It is, without a doubt, one of the finest pieces of pure cinema released in 2025, regardless of genre.
We're talking about 17 kids in one classroom. I want to know what happened in that classroom. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
The original story, thoughtful script, and good directing are what caught my attention. The performances are absolutely magnetic, with Josh Brolin and Garner bringing a level of gravity that grounded the terror in human emotion. The writers treated the audience as intelligent participants, refusing to spoon-feed exposition and instead allowing the horrifying implications of the narrative to slowly suffocate us. But a great script needs great execution. The directing here is masterful in its restraint. The use of negative space in the framing, the oppressive sound design which often utilized silence as a weapon itself. It all pointed to a filmmaker in complete control of their craft. It's a film that lingers in the psyche long after the credits roll, proving that when horror is treated with seriousness and artistic integrity, it is capable of profound resonance. Changing gears entirely, we move to the realm of speculative fiction. 2025 was a crowded year for sci-fi, but one film stood head and shoulders above the rest as the undisputed champion of the genre: Predator, Badlands. When dealing with a franchise this storied, the risk of stagnation is immense. Yet director Trachtenberg managed to revitalize the lore while delivering a standalone masterpiece of tension and action. The best sci-fi film of the outgoing year. Everything is top-notch. Films like these simply make me go to the cinema to see and hear the beauty that the artists created while creating this film. Elle delivers a career-defining performance, perfectly balancing vulnerability with grit, while Dimitrius Schuster-Koloamatangi brings a terrifying physicality to the role of the Predator. The world building is immersive, transporting us to a setting that felt alien, hostile, and utterly tangible. The sound mix, in particular, was a symphony of glorious violence and suspense. Hearing the iconic clicking echo around a Dolby Atmos theater was a visceral reminder of why we love movies. The artists behind this film created a brutal, beautiful ballet of survival that honored its legacy while forging a bold new path.
So you like straight talk?
Straight and narrow, no sugar.
Why are you here, Sonny?
We remain in high-octane territory with our next entry. Sometimes, cinema doesn't need to be deeply philosophical. Sometimes, it just needs to execute a specific goal with flawless precision. F1 set out to be the definitive racing film of its generation, and it absolutely succeeded.
Any constructive criticism for each other, what would it be?
Don't be such an ass dickhead. That was constructive.
Wow. This is a very high-quality professional production, directed by Joseph Kosinski, with top Hollywood stars Brad Pitt and Damson Idris. I haven't enjoyed a sports action film this much in a long time.
The absolute best in the world.
The challenge with racing films is always translating the sheer speed and danger of the sport onto a two-dimensional screen without it looking like a video game. F1 solved this through an unparalleled commitment to practical filmmaking. The camera rigs developed specifically for this production put us inside the cockpit in a way I've never experienced before. Furthermore, the inclusion of Pitt and Idris wasn't just stunt casting. They brought the necessary gravitas and ego to portray elite drivers authentically. Their commitment to the physical demands of the roles anchored the spectacle in human drama. It's sleek, it's loud, it's incredibly fast, and it is a technical marvel of action cinema.
Drebin, the robbers you put in the ICU are lawyering up to sue the city.
Since when do cops have to follow the law?
Is he serious?
No.
Finally, we come to perhaps the hardest genre to get right in the modern era, comedy. Looking back at 2025, it was a painfully dry year for genuinely funny theatrical releases. The landscape was barren, save for one glorious oasis, the return of The Naked Gun.
Oh, God! Someone help!
Pretty fun, I guess.
There weren't many interesting comedies in 2025, but this one was the best. I watched the first film as a kid, and surprisingly, the sequel really hit the spot. Under the direction of Akiva Schaffer, it's a silly, fun, high-quality action comedy.
This oven is disgusting.
Okay.
Comedy sequels, particularly ones arriving decades later, are usually disastrous. However, Liam Neeson steps into the lead role with absolutely perfect deadpan timing, proving he is a comedic force to be reckoned with, while Pamela Anderson and Paul Walter Hauser provide brilliant support.
Who are you?
Frank Drebin Jr., Police Squad.
It respected the rhythm and structure of the spoof genre. The jokes per minute ratio is relentless. It didn't try to elevate the material with unnecessary sentimentality. It committed fully to the absurdity of the premise. In a year desperate for laughter, The Naked Gun was a necessary release, proving that smart, stupid comedy is an art form unto itself.
Oh, I'm gonna ruin another suit.
A psychological horror masterpiece, a sci-fi spectacle, a high-speed adrenaline rush, and a perfect spoof. 4 wildly different films, united by a commitment to excellence in their craft. 2025 was a stellar year for movies, and these 4 were crucial reasons why. That wraps up part 2 of my Best of the Year review. Let me know in the comments below which of these 4 surprised you the most, and what your personal favorite genre film of 2025 was. If you appreciate this kind of serious, in-depth film discussion, please consider liking the video and subscribing so you don't miss future analyses. Until next time, keep watching.